Hi everyone, I'm Blair Campbell, the head of Fit Summit. Now we are joined by the lovely Hema Prakash, the Vice President and Managing Director of MINDBODY for Asia Pacific. It is Hema's role to expand the growth of MINDBODY, the world's leading technology platform for the wellness industry. She focuses her time on the scale and sizing of the B2B and B2C operations for the brand. And she's been in the industry for 20 years. Hema, it's great to have you here.
Hi, Blair. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Let's jump in and let's ask you the first question of today. Focusing on the consumer, what trends and behaviors are you seeing currently from regions that are reopening versus regions that are still restricted?
So this has been fascinating. Just to give folks that aren't quite familiar with the MINDBODY, we do business management in the wellness industry, right? So we've got just under 6,000 customers. When I say customers, they're the studios that we're referring to in the Asia Pacific region. Our primary regions in Asia Pacific by manner of revenue and class bookings and consumer uptake is Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, New Zealand, followed closely then by Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, and we've also got China that's coming in our coattails as well. So we follow two bits of statistics. So we're sort of that end-to-end player, and consumer numbers are something we look at. I look at actively. My senior leadership team across the world that I'm part of look at hyperactively to understand what we need to advise our member businesses, so our businesses that we supply the software to, on how to operate as well. So there's been 5 interesting trends. Now, excuse me if I would look away because I'm reading a lot of data sets and it's been a very long day for me here. So one of the things that has been trending upwards, and it's been surprising for me, and I think I've spoken to you about this before, is that this has been the year of impossibilities, and consumers are now saying we want control with what we can control. And the consumer behavior has changed in such a way that just for the month of March 2021, we saw a 16% increase year on year. So for March 21 compared to March 20 on the consumer app downloads. Now, this is a MINDBODY consumer app, and it's just under shy of 10 million bookings per quarter. We always oscillate around those numbers. 10% of that comes from the actual MINDBODY app. So not our business apps that use our product, but the physical MINDBODY app. So that's telling us something. Now that's kind of 60,000 downloads in our major markets that I mentioned. So people are wanting to exercise, and these are new consumers downloading the app. There's obviously going to be the people that want to clear up space on their phone, which I'm constantly doing. This is actually brand new consumers that are doing it. So that's interesting. Let's park that to the side for a second. Meditation has been the big noise that's happening. So again, that is just under 20% of folks, consumers surveyed, and we're constantly running surveys because we do have these large data sets we can work with, are saying that they do want to spend more time on meditating. Calm, headspace, all their numbers are pointing that way as well, which is not surprising for us. What's been quite interesting, Blair, is that businesses have specifically opened, and previously there was a couple here, a couple there, maybe one oxygen studio here. Now it's become physical locations where you can go to meditate, where you can also have the oxygen chair, where you can also have a 20-minute downtime in your quiet space. So it's been directly growing. Our consumer numbers are showing us something. The businesses using our business app that are in that space have also proportionally grown upwards. The third thing is snackable workouts. This is a very marketing term, and I totally understand what they're saying. So 30 and 45-minute workouts. Now, this is my big thing. My patience levels are really quite bad on a good day. But since COVID hit, I don't know whether it's my lack of ability to concentrate, and this is showing in all our consumer data. I like my 45-minute classes. I like my 30-minute classes, whether it's virtual or in studio. The resounding ask from 34% of our consumers surveyed was they do want to have shorter classes. So it's also, we're going to talk about how studios should behave to address these consumer behaviors later, but something to definitely remember and think about as well. The other thing that's been quite surprising, and as the meditation studios have grown, it's a very odd word, touchless spa services. Don't know how this is going to translate in a lot of different markets. So that's a cryotherapy, your compression therapy, your salt caves, your infrared saunas, your IV drips, your hyperbaric chambers, your float tanks. So previously there used to be, again, 1, 2, 3 in certain states or in certain regions, for example, in Hong Kong, and in certain areas they were there. Now there's the propensity for them to open up more spaces that specifically target recovery and restoration practices have actually grown as well. And lastly, no surprise, is the virtual offering. So there's always been a virtual offering. So whether it's you going onto YouTube to find out a yoga class, or, find a hatha class, or whether it's a strength class you want to do because you've got a bit of equipment in your home, this is now becoming an industry within itself. Now, we had to release something, and we were fortunate to be able to do that soon as COVID hit, which was the virtual wellness platform. The uptake in this and the ability for in studio, whether it's a yoga teacher or your gym instructor, to be able to communicate with you on a one-to-one level while you're doing a virtual class or video on demand class has actually become a thing of our lives. So virtual offerings and in-situ offerings are what consumers are demanding as well. So it's 5 things to think about there.
Very interesting 5 trends there from you, Hema. That's very enlightening to hear. What data points in particular have surprised you and your team in the past few months that could pave new opportunities for fitness and wellness in the future?
So consumers have told us what they want. So the 5 points we touched on, right? The shorter classes are important. They do want the dual offering because each one of these of our customer businesses that we're working with have got a pretty strong brand offering. Your Instagram pages are filled with people that are following you, whether it's your diet whether it's a recipe you're sharing with your community, or whether it's your teacher telling you that here's a 10-minute bite-sized class through Insta, through IGTV. What else are you doing through that channel? So the digital dual offering is very important there. Here's the third thing that we need to start thinking about is a move towards a wellness and a holistical approach to what being healthy is. So the healthful living trend, and we'll touch on that a bit later with the wearable devices, with the sleep trackers, it's all becoming a thing. How I feel, how you feel on a weekly basis, it's not just about fitness, it's not just about yoga, it's not just about your quiet time with your family or your pets. It's also about dropping into your infrared saunas because you do need that space. It's about doing more for yourself right now than you have previously. So I'd encourage everyone to look at your offering, how you as a business owner are augmenting that offering for that consumers, and survey your consumers. The consumer surveys that I've been filling up, I belong to a lot of different studios, not just because of MINDBODY, because sometimes I can't get to one class, and I have 5, 10 class packs all over the place because the propensity in Australia right now is you can't get into classes. The demand's so great that the space limitations are there. I'm seeing the trend of weekend immersion sessions. So you go away for the weekend for a yoga session, or a reformer Pilates weekend in this instance, or yin and pin. So what else, yin yoga and acupuncture, that is. So what else are you offering your consumers that are walking in through the door to give them that holistic approach to feeling better? So the data points keep surprising us. Marry the consumer behaviors that I just mentioned with what your augmented offering is going to look like, and think about your business in a manner you've never thought about before as well.
If we were to turn to your partners in reflection, what were the reasons some of your partners outperformed their competition throughout the pandemic? So
I touched on this in my answer previously about thinking differently about your business. And I'm also going to take it a step further, because some of the things I'm going to tell you here are going to be quite uncomfortable for the traditional mindset in which that we've seen the fitness industry grow in Asia Pacific and around the world. And I talked about yin and pin, right? So previously, I don't think many people thought about getting an acupuncture person to come in and do a yin session and charging 3 times more a class for that. But these are the trends that I would encourage you all to watch. Here's another thing. So we are absolutely seeing a trend that spend is most certainly going up. The MBO consumer downloads are going up. So there's some traditional studios are finding that lift post-pandemic to be higher than they expected because the modeling hasn't changed. And a lot of newer studios are thriving. So we looked at a cohort of, we took a cohort of about 25 in the thriving market. And we also looked at another cohort of the 50 studios that were doing really well that aren't doing so well right now. And we go, what are they doing differently? And what was the resounding, result of this mini experiment that we came, and the thesis out of this was that the traditional funnel of membership acquisition and membership retention just needs to be relooked at. So traditionally, if you owned a fitness space, you'd be like, okay, I want 85% of my people or 90% to be on recurring membership programs. We're now saying that because it's fragmented, the market is fragmented, people are doing more and spending more on wellness, that dollar is being stretched most certainly, but it's also being diversified too. So it might be strength HIIT cardio. It might be yoga. If you've got it both, great. If you don't, do you have a wellness offering? But beyond that, it's a 5 and 10 class packs. So the 5 and 10 class packs and how you price it is going to be an eye-opener for each one of the businesses that are listening today. I spoke to a customer of ours in Singapore yesterday. Successful business, successful brand, incredible offering, and it's a 3-location business, and he's been around for quite a while. He said something interesting. Their model was all based on recurring revenue memberships, and he tried something new, much to the, surprise of all his peers around him. He sold more 50-class packs and considering shifting his model to 60% class packs, which is your 5, 10, 20, 50, whichever modeling you want to do, and 40% recurring revenue memberships. He said the propensity for people to want to buy that, the commitment factor without having to sign a contract, without having to, really commit to something that you're not sure what's going to happen tomorrow, whether things are going to close or not, giving the consumers that power has changed his way of looking at his business. Adding on to that is the phenomenon. Have you heard of Super Monkey in China? If you haven't, good time to Google it. All they're doing is saying, hey, consumer, you can come in and drop in on 1 class. You can do 3 classes, but you're paying by pay per class model. So that is something to look out for, because that's changing the traditional view on how it is to build a fitness business. The other thing I'd ask everyone to look at is your retention strategy. Each of your consumer cohorts, so your membership, recurring revenue membership should be cohort A, your 5 class packs, your 10 class packs, your drop-ins. How are you pricing it? Within your recurring membership model, and a lot of people do this, but I think people have forgotten, right? We've been feasting for many years, and this pandemic has taught us all to think about things differently. Look at that recurring revenue membership. Understand if you've got platinum, gold, silver, I'm just using really basic terms here. How many times are the silver folks coming in to your studios? Are they actually meant to be gold folks? Is your gold offering about access to many different classes? Are they coming in 7 times a week? So drilling down into your membership base to understand their behavior pattern, and then charging accordingly is important as well. And of course, the virtual offering, I cannot speak highly enough about what you need to do. If you don't have one, it's always good to have that, because it also keeps people stickier. If you can't get to that 30-minute class, someone could do it in their home or in their office as well. And lastly is investing in technology. I geek out on my product a couple of times. I'll give you an idea of how many studios and spaces I go to. It's possibly 2 or 3 different ones on a weekly basis. If you're not speaking to your consumer that's coming in through the door and has completed a class, how was your yoga class with Andrew? Will you come back? Would you consider a 5-class pack? Would you consider speaking to someone about a membership? Whatever your marketing tools are, deploy it, utilize it. The number of times I go to these classes and I have no communication it surprises me. I've actually given up coming into the office and saying, can you call so-and-so and tell them that I've not received anything from them to encourage me to buy something more. But what was amazing, and going back to geeking out on products, I get annual, monthly facials, and I've given up booking ahead. And Blair, you and I just talked about this. So usually it's a 4 to 5 week. Once I drop in every 4 to 5 weeks into my facial studio. Impossible to get an appointment, so you got to pre-book it. The marketing tools available right now where you can talk to your consumer based on their behavior. So Hema goes in for a Wednesday facial, 6 p.m. every 5 weeks. She hasn't turned up this last instance. How do I entice her back? I get an email at 2 p.m. that day. I was thinking about it, didn't get around to getting that booking in. And it gave me a 10% discount to book a $300 facial, whatever it turned out to be. And I was in. So that access for the consumers to say, hey, good reminder, there's a booking available, let me get in. That's the type of technology we're talking about. It's not just about saying, hey, there's 3 spaces available in tomorrow's class. No, let's get active about this. Let's be really specific about how you speak to your consumers to get to the end goal, which is getting them in through your studios.
Those are some very candid points, Hema, and I have no doubt that most of the operators who are listening have consulted widely with their consumers over the last year. And that's been the reason for their success, is taking those points on and pivoting at the crucial times and doing so. And the ones who are not are deeply regretting that. And so that was very, very informative, what you just spoke on. Moving on, in tomorrow's more technologically aware marketplace, what data points should partner studios focus on to improve both member engagement, experience, and retention?
These are really good questions, Blair. I'm glad you're asking them. So let's look at engagement first. Creating a low barrier to entry and making it easy for your consumers to walk in to the door is important. Hence why you need to relook at the business model that you might have been on before. So the recurring revenue memberships is one aspect, as I touched on. The 5, 10, 20, 50 class packs, which is a particular customer of ours in Singapore said has just turned his view around about his recurring memberships versus 5, 10 class packs. The challenge there is keeping community as well, but it's not a challenge it's not that hard to achieve. And also looking at what your class drop-ins are like, increasing that funnel and engaging new customers and keeping your members engaged is going to be your key thing. So increase the funnel to get more people in. So there's 3 access points for them to do it. And also ensure that your socials, your community aspect of it, by ensuring there's deeper dives into what they're doing, like I keep using yin and pin. It's just in my head now, Blair. I can't stop using it. But that is something to think about as well. Experience it's this wellness thing, right? Like the hyperbaric chambers. And I was speaking to Tony DeLead recently, and he's a vanguard in the region in terms of what he's done with Fitness First decades ago and continues to do. We're talking to shopping malls right now, shopping mall holders rather, that are changing spaces into wellness drop-in centers. So why can't these wellness drop-in centers be within the spaces that the studios are already in? Perhaps you have a downtime versus a class. You could potentially put wellness drop-ins in there, like the oxygen chairs, like the hyperbaric chambers. The mechanics of this obviously need to be worked out depending on space, or partner with another business that's doing that as well. Think about the offering as a holistic offering rather than a siloed offering that someone's just going to come there, do the one thing. That still does work, but it's all of the different encompassing factors. The third thing is retention. It's software. Your retention is not just how you make people feel, it's how you make people buy and stay with your brand. And if you're not deploying AI tools right now, and you're not deploying Marketing Suite, whichever manner it comes in, that is actively speaking to your consumer behavior, you're missing the boat there. So I'd encourage you to not just speak to your consumers with the Survey Monkey, which is very important, but ask questions that you don't want answered is what I would also ask. If some classes aren't full, find out why. Is it the timing? Is it the length of the class? So deploy all the tools that are available to you to ensure that you are hearing from your market the way that they want to be heard.
I think you're right. Members really want a journey which is personalized and customized to them. They want something very holistic, and the key way to retain them going forward is not just to have continued consultation, as you spoke in the last point, but it's to leverage technology and ensure that we're including their needs much more than we currently are. Do you believe that there is a commercial future for digital fitness and wellness?
Oh gosh, yes. This is a big point, Blair. We could be talking for hours. So let me just summarize it. So it's Headspace and Calm, they're here to stay. Headspace is going through to schools now, and we've deployed the Calm app in MindBody across the board, and the uptake's been quite encouraging. Equinox in the US are doing biometric identity data manipulation to ensure that recovery times for each of its members are there. And they're also changing the workout routine according to what the members want, right? On top of that, you have the Oura Ring, which is not just about sleep tracking. It's about temperatures. It's about your activity levels. The wearables have changed. I'm not going to wear an Apple Watch because I'm a bit of a traditional watch wearer, but I am wearing an Oura Ring. It helps me. It's another app that I have on my phone, but I'm actively engaging in what it is that makes me feel good and healthy. The last year has been tough for everyone. No one's been untouched by it. We're now looking to technology for those answers. So the digital and wellness future, it's not just about the Pelotons. It's not just about the devices like Vitruvian and all these things that are coming out in market. There's a lot. It's more about consumers taking control of how they feel through their wellness journey. And we're seeing that becoming incorporated in people's behavior patterns as well.
Now, just to go back there, Hema, you spoke a little bit on that it's been a hard year for everyone, and that must have affected you and the team at some point as well. So having endured some dark days yourself over this past year, what has been your proudest moment and why?
It's the people. MindBody's built on, and I know a lot of companies say this, I've had quite a few rounds around the sun with a lot of different big corporate names. We're built on a value system, and it's an honor code. But beyond the honor code, it's an experienced team, decades and decades of experience, Blair. From Rick Stallmeyer, the co-founder of MindBody, along with Blake Beltram. When I started 3 years ago, the guys were in seat. And Rick continues to be exec chairman. The brains that started this industry can foresee what's next. When this hit, we've spoken about this before, our world's changed. Our big resounding why was to ensure there was a business management software that 60,000 businesses could come back to. I have seen what happens. Our sales floor goes completely, the phones go nuts. When someone goes down, software is expensive. I know exactly how expensive software companies are. Come and have a cup of tea with me, I'll tell you. It's incredible how much effort went into that. Not just that, but what would happen 18 months from there. So that we had to make some very difficult decisions, but we're fortunate enough to have reversed those decisions, bring our teams back. But we've also become this company that is now moving in a manner that we really were always going to do, but this has catapulted it. The reason why we're going to come out of this shining is not because of anything other than the people we have in the business. Without your people, and I speak about people as the foundational basis of absolutely everything, the leadership, our folks in the front lines, our customer service teams that are taking these calls from desperate business owners, not knowing where their next dime is coming from, the compassion, the empathy, us being able to quickly deploy, subscription relief breaks that we're constantly doing in market. All of this had to happen quickly, and you can't do it if you don't have an incredible leadership team. So Josh Mercado, Sunil Rajasekar, Aaron Stead, Josh Todd, these guys are my colleagues, my leaders, my peers. They're incredible, and all the teams around us. We've done a great job in making sure that the business it's not only surviving, but thriving and continuing to do so. So that's my proudest moment, is to be part of a team that can be really vulnerable, honest, and authentic in what we've gone through as well, because gone are the days of gesticulating towards inauthenticity. We are this fulcrum where we decide what kind of lives we all want and what kind of businesses we want to lead. So I'm really proud to be part of the firm, part of the brand, and it's something that I truly wear as a badge of honor as well. So it's pretty incredible.
Hema, if I can ask you, what do you seek out now and rely upon yourself to preserve your own health, fitness, and well-being?
Very good question, Blair. I'm focusing on different things now compared to what I did 12 months ago and what I did 2 years ago. Rest is sitting at the forefront of that, and it's come from a discussion with my mentor, who's reminded me that my ability to constantly and need to starfish in life might be that overachievement part of my brain that sometimes needs to chill out. So I focus on sleep a lot, to ensure I get the right levels of sleep in my day. And previously, I try and get a lot more activity. I try and do one activity a day. Now it's down to 3 times a week. So it could be a PT session, could be my yoga sessions. Most of my yoga sessions are virtual now. I do try. So this thought of trying is the word that I leave everyone with. And I think I might have said this before. I am not that person that gets up at 6 and try and get a green smoothie in or get to a class. Some days are very busy for me. The mornings for me, because it's Californian calls, the days can start at 4 or 5 a.m. and I'm trying to balance five or six different things. So it's just a matter of prioritizing what makes me feel good. I really want to one day sit here and tell you that, I get 3 yoga classes in, 2 Pilates in, 4 strength. It's not going to be me. I'm going to do the best I can, though, in the interim.
Well, thank you. That's a very honest answer. And there's no doubt, whatever you're doing, it's working. You look great, sound great, and so far the team's been thriving. It's been a real pleasure to have had this opportunity to interview Hema, and I'm thrilled that you shared the journey that both you and MindBody as a brand have had. On behalf of myself, the Fit Summit team, we thank you very much for all your contributions. If anyone would like to learn much more about MindBody, there's going to be a small quote along the screen here where you can connect with Hema, her team, and the brand. We all look very much forward to hearing you soon. Please go into their exhibition and utilize the contact there to speak with a member of MindBody online ASAP. Thank you all very much, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye from me, and goodbye from him. Thank you.